What's up, guys? We are back again for another Motu Classics review. Today we are going to take a look at Castle Grayskullman from the 30th anniversary line, and this is the final figure in that line, and he kind of rounded out the small mini sub that included a bunch of newly created characters for Motu Classics. This guy is in particular important because he was the Motu Classics kind of counterpart to Fearless Photog. So we talked about Photog previously. He was created back in the 80s via a fan contest. Same thing here with Castle Grayskullman. He was created for the Motu Classics contest by Daniel Benedict. He created a whole thing for Castle Grayskullman, a fake commercial, a mock-up figure, the whole works. I'm going to put a link down in the description to his YouTube channel and his website. You can take a look at the stuff he made for the character because it is pretty cool. I actually still have this guy sealed, obviously, so we're going to crack him out specifically for this review. You can see we've got the kind of the standard packaging. It's just got that extra blurb down there with a shout out to Daniel Benedict. The back has the kind of spread for the 30th anniversary, along with some figures that are not really related to the 30th anniversary line, along with our Castle Grayskullman bio. So let's pull this guy out and take a closer look. All right, so here is Castle Grayskullman out of the packaging, and I think it is pretty obvious what the intended purpose of this figure is. But if it's not, I will kind of explain his backstory a bit. So the gist of the character is that he is the living embodiment of Castle Grayskull. So in their greatest hour of need, the heroes call upon the castle itself, and this guy comes to life. So I think you can see pretty obviously where, that inspiration is. Mostly in the head, but we've got a lot of Grayskull style influences all over the body, on the chest, on the feet, on the hands, and on the shoulders. So we'll take a closer look at the figure itself, go over the normal stuff. Articulation-wise, it's a standard Motu Classics figure, so not a great deal to really go in depth on here. The head's on a ball. It can move up and down and side to side. The hair is going to get in the way, if any kind of upwards movement. Arms can move out and back all around. Bicep swivel, single jointed elbow, and rotation at the wrist. Rotation at the waist. There is a crunch. The joint is there, but the armor piece that gives him the Grayskull bricks aspect on his chest is going to hinder that. As you can see, the armor will just pop off. Kind of standard fare for Motu Classics with a armor piece. Legs can go all the way out. They go forward just a bit. The loincloth is very rigid, so it's going to get in the way. Back a bit. There is rotation at that joint. We do have single jointed knee. There is a boot cut, and then there is a hinge at the wrist. Or at the ankle, because the ankle's on the foot. As far as the sculpt goes, I think that's clearly where this guy really shines. It's really what he is all about, is the sculpt. What he looks like, what he represents. So there is slight parts reuse here in terms of the detailed pieces. He reuses the kind of shoulders we see on Buzz-Off and Clawful, because they still have kind of like a stony, rocky look to them. We've got the wrists and hands that look like Castle Grayskull bricks. We have got the kind of standard loincloth with the belt, and we've got boots that have the Grayskull bricks as well. The big thing, or one of the two, is obviously the head and the chest. So the chest piece is, like I said, a removable piece of armor, rubbery kind of plastic. It just clips on. You can pop it on, take it off. There's not really anything to show under there, though. And it has the skull emblem that is a influence from the door on Castle Grayskull. Same kind of design. And then, of course, that armor piece is covered in Grayskull-style bricks. The head, though, is clearly where this guy shines. He is obviously basically just a head of the jaw bridge. So this is the face of Castle Grayskull, essentially, in figure form. You can see he's got the kind of tower piece up top for the what would be kind of almost like a headpiece, but is the upper tower of Castle Grayskull. Those sunken eyes, that sunken nose, the open mouth with the fangs mimicking the jaw bridge. I think it's a very, very cool idea to have Castle Grayskull brought to life in figure form, and I think they did a really good job with this sculpt. The face also has a lot of Grayskull brick line work in it as well. And then, of course, he has that flowing hair, kind of, He-Man-esque. I think it's all right. The hair doesn't really do it a great deal for me. I think it could have been dulled a little bit. It's really bright compared to the rest of the figure. Most of his colors are kind of muted and dull, but the hair kind of stands out. It is sculpted well, and it does have a wash in there. It's yellow to begin with, but then there is a green wash in there. I think it just could have been a little more dull. The face, obviously, in every aspect of this figure has paint on him. It just may not be as noticeable in some spots, because most of it is just a wash. So he is green in general, the kind of Grayskull green, but then he has a black wash in all of those nooks and crannies on every bit of that stonework, and then he does have shading all over the legs and the arms as well. And then, of course, the eyes are painted black, and so is the mouth in those sunken, recessed areas, along with the white on the teeth. Now, he does come with a few accessories. You obviously would have seen those in the package shot. But he has 2 swords to begin with, and these are, again, a reference to Castle Grayskull. So there is a flag atop Castle Grayskull, and on each side is a set of crossed swords. One side has this blue and green, the other side has this kind of purpley brown maroon type color. So he has one of each of those. The design of them is very cool. They're very unique in the Motu line. I think they're really nice swords. They're painted really well. The hilts are clean and crisp, and the line work blends into the blade really nicely. There's no bleed or anything, and then they have the kind of silver rivet line work on there as well. Everything's kind of a metallic-y color, so everything kind of pops a bit. Very cool. They look really good in his hands, and he holds them perfectly well in either hands. And then he has another accessory, so in the same line as his crest on his chest, he has a shield that mimics that same Castle Grayskull door design, and it is executed very well. It's larger than the chest. It has a little bit more room for detail. The feathers in there are detailed really well. A lot of sculpted line work, and then the skull looks very good. Very, very reminiscent of Castle Grayskull, and he can clip it on either wrist, but it's more meant to be used on the left because of where the clip is on the actual back of the shield. As you can see, it's closer to this side, so it's going to fit better on his left wrist. All right, so overall, I think that this is a very well executed figure. He's a really cool idea. I like the fact that he came from the fans, and it's just a great idea for a Motu figure. Castle Grayskull brought to life in plastic, in figure form, is excellent. I'm a huge fan of the idea, and the figure is really nice. I like the sculpt, I like the paint, love the accessories, and then he fits in really well with just your Motu Classics figures. I think he is among the better figures in the 30th anniversary subline, and I don't think too many people would dispute that as well. So that is going to do it for this review, everyone. As always, stay tuned for more. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.